Hi, everybody. Welcome to MayerWood Movie Meltdown, a podcast that discusses everything movies. My name is CJ.
And my name is Shaq.
My name is Michael.
And we're here to discuss Marvel's latest entry into the MCU, Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. It's definitely a crazy experience. What do you got to think about the movie?
Well, first of all, any person who's watching an IMAX movie, they better watch it in IMAX only. Oh, yeah. Like, if a movie's made in IMAX, just watch it in IMAX only, please. It just save your experience for just IMAX only. And in 3D, usually you don't really watch movies in 3D IMAX, but for a 3D IMAX movie, that was actually really good. Everything was put together. The CGI was actually on point. A lot of parts were a little bit off at times, but majority of it was held together because there's a lot of CGI and a lot of magic going on. So a few parts are gonna look a little iffy, but other than that, I think the film was an amazing film, honestly.
Yeah, I think Marvel has that effect now where we're kind of getting a little stale with the CGI they're putting in the movies. But, when you look at it, it's like Doctor Strange, there's no other way you could really make the movie look the way it does. You got to use CGI. You just got to use good CGI. Definitely, had its points, but we'll save that for later. But what did you think about the film?
Honestly, I feel like as a whole, like they executed very well. They did not too much and not too little, just the right amount. And I believe they upped the last one, and in a lot of different areas that we'll cover later on in this episode. But it was a huge upgrade, and I really appreciate Sam Raimi taking on this film and doing his thing. And I'm telling you, man, that guy's really good at what he does. He's another one like him. So I believe as a whole, I enjoy this movie a lot, and I would recommend it to everybody. If you're a Marvel fan, watch it. If you're not, watch it. Watch it. That's it. That's all I gotta say is watch the movie. It was really good, and enjoy it.
Honestly, I'd say overall, it's kind of hard to go to a Marvel movie and not enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
They hit the mark with the jokes, the action. They kind of blended it. They found what works for them.
Their formula.
And I appreciate that because it's Marvel.
Yes.
It took a while to get there. We seen the rough patches. You know what I mean. But they finally found their niche. It feels like they found what works for them. And like they came into this, I guess you could say, this phase, and they're kind of like vamping everything up now. They're going on the big scale, the wide scale, multiverse type stuff. So like, I feel like with this, on the multiverse aspect, I would say personally, I think they 85% hit the mark. I did expect a lot more, but I wasn't trying to go into the movie thinking, it was going to be like this grand scale thing. I kind of wanted to lower my expectations because Marvel has, personally, I've noticed this, Marvel has a history of like promising things and they don't fully give you what you wanted or what they promised, and they make it look like something else, which that
happens a lot.
I'm cool with that, you know what I mean, from marketing aspect and bringing people in, but they tend to do that a lot, and sometimes they're, I guess you could say, like their top ideas and concepts, they don't really hit the mark because they kind of misfire you into a different direction. But I think with this movie, Sam Raimi saved it by bringing in his own spice.
I think he also had his own formula from the movies he already did with Marvel and the Spider-Man films. His formula, you could kind of see it a lot in this one as well, especially when people watch it, they'll notice the parts that are really Sam Raimi films. But I think that's what they did right, was make sure they had a strong director, they had a strong cast, and they knew exactly what they were trying to do with the film, and I think they executed it very well. It was very solid.
Yeah, and add on to your point, too, what you said about the IMAX, definitely the only way I suggest watching the movie, honestly, is IMAX. You're getting the best experience. And I think this was the first time or at least first time in a long time, we've done IMAX 3D. Canada's a little behind on the formats. I know if you're from America, you're seeing everything. But in Canada, we rarely get IMAX 3D movies. Very solid, because I don't really like 3D movies, to be honest. They hurt my eyes, It's not as fun as it used to be. It was like Shark Boy, Lava Girl days, you know what I'm saying? It was more,
with
campy.
The blue and red.
Yeah, with the blue and red, you know what I'm saying?
That's
like
Spy Kids,
the
too.
Spy Kids stuff. Like, it was fun back then, but like I feel like they kind of got lazy after a while with the 3D effects. But it was good to see it in IMAX quality, the best way to watch a movie.
Honestly, especially for a Sam Raimi movie, like I always wanted to see how he would film his movies in 3D, and this was one of those films where you could watch that and experience that. It kind of gives a nostalgic feeling to some of the old films that he had, the classics that he made, like Evil Dead and Spider-Man. Like, those films you kind of see in this, and it kind of brings you back to a certain time. But now with all this new technology, these new stories, and everything being involved, just makes for that kind of experience that Sam Raimi gives in this film. Yeah, it's there's a few things that they could have hit better with the mark, but I still think it's very solid where they hit. I think it's right there.
I think as a whole, I feel like it was very good for Marvel to introduce somebody like fresh, somebody new that can add different elements to the game, and I think that's why they got Sam Raimi, because we know his history.
Yeah, we
you know
do.
what I mean?
We
So
do.
he's not no spring chicken. Like, he's been there before, right?
Yes,
So he's
yes.
done film, live action Spider-Man movies before, so he knows what to do. So I feel like adding him, like I'm happy for him because he's now in the MCU. So
Yeah, fully, yes.
you know, I'm glad he's here. He's already done Spider-Man before, so I'm glad he's here to do actual MC
films. We're excited to have you back, Sam, by the way.
Thank God for coming back, because I think you kind of saved Marvel here with this one, because I believe you did. I didn't know where they were going after Spider-Man. I'm like, okay, Doctor Strange. It's Doctor Strange. Is it going to be able to carry this film into this new, or this, I guess you say, series into its new entry? How are they going to be able to make Phase 4, dynamic and interesting and not like what we've seen before? Because now I think all eyes are on Marvel to see if they cannot make repetitive content, where it's not the same thing over. And
they definitely didn't do it with this one. No. And they have to be really careful with that, using that formula again. But that's why I said they have somebody like Sam Raimi who has his own formula film. And like I said, when you do watch this film, you will see some of those things. But other than that, Marvel just has to keep thriving to create better stories and involve the more better creators behind the projects. Involve people who understand these characters, and that's why I think they picked Sam Raimi in the first place, because he also wanted to involve himself with Doctor Strange from years ago.
Yes.
And he also said that's one of his favorite characters from Marvel. So I was very excited to see that, because it was like, damn, we're getting a Sam Raimi movie and it's Doctor Strange. Like, you're getting the best of both worlds when it came to me. That was for me.
Nah, I'm glad you brought it up, because we just came off of watching a movie like Spider-Man No Way Home.
Fresh.
And to even go from there, it's just like, what are they gonna do? And I remember watching it in theater, and I was like, what's next? And I feel like this movie was the perfect way to go. You know what I mean? It was, I wouldn't say it was mediocre. It was right in the middle. It got everything it needed to get done, and they executed it very well. You know what I mean? And I feel like people who came from watching Spider-Man No Way Home to watching Doctor Strange, like,
it's a different experience.
They're gonna love it.
Yeah, if you watch them back to back, for sure, I think you'll definitely like the experiences that they're bringing. I like where Marvel's going overall. Solid entry, very enjoyable movie. I'm not ever gonna complain watching Sam Raimi come back.
Especially when it comes to Marvel movies, just you kind of expect him to take it, to a different level, to take it out of the water, right? So, it was a really good film. Honestly, I would give it a really high rating. Actually, what would you rate the film?
All right, so I'm going to come on and say these are fresh ratings, right? So we probably are going to change these ratings over time. But for me personally, I would say I would give the film, on first glance, a 7 out of 10. I give it a 7 out of 10 because it did what it needed to do. It hit the marks for me. My favorite character in the movie was Wanda. She did her thing. This is the Wanda that we have been waiting to see.
Yes.
I could see why some people would have issues, because, some people do have issues with, the way that they take storylines like this. But overall, I think they hit the mark. They did what they needed to do. They ended it, and they introduced the multiverse in a unique way. So I would definitely give it a 7. A few things that I would change, but the small things that hamper the movie, they don't hamper it to the point where it's like, oh, it's a terrible movie. It just kind of takes you out a little bit, and you're like, huh?
Yeah, you're right.
And you ask yourself, like, oh, what's going on? But other than that, it's Sam Raimi. I'm never complaining. This is a dream come true. What would you rate the movie?
Again, like, I'm just gonna keep it real. I feel like that movie was really, really, really good. I would give it a 8.5. 8.5 out of 10. I feel like I can't really complain. There's nothing for me to really complain about. I enjoyed the movie. Like, I got my money's worth. I can't complain. I feel like they executed it very well. Again, there's always going to be questions. There's always going to be nitpick things you don't like. But, again, Sam Raimi, what can I say?
Can't complain.
He did his job, and he did it really well, and really good movie. I had nothing to say other than I enjoyed it.
What about you? What would you rate it?
From watching the film, throughout the film, my rating was changing as it was getting better and better. And it really did come down to it being a solid 7. it's almost an 8 for me. But like you were saying, that could change in the future. The more we watch the film, the more we understand what's going on. But just being a Marvel fan and understanding where they were trying to take this film, I have to give it a solid 7. There's a few things that I understand what people are going to complain about that I seen. But other than that, what stuck very well was the story that they chose to do. And that worked perfectly because it didn't stray to something else. It kind of kept to what it was. And we all see the film as that. From the beginning to the end, you understand what this film is about. Yeah, there's a few parts that stray, but still a very solid film. So I'll give it a 7.
You know, so we got 2 7s, 8.5. I think it's pretty cool that Marvel keeps getting these ratings. They haven't really, missed the mark. Well, I mean, Eternals. But we don't really... Talk about that. Yeah,
let's not talk about that. We don't want to talk about that. No.
That movie's not canon.
We're not. Yeah, we're gonna just say that's a different, timeline.
That's not canon at all.
But other than that, though, Marvel seems to have hit the mark. I think they have found, their niche, like we were saying, and going forward, I think when you watch this movie, you're overall gonna have a really trippy and fun experience. And you're probably going to be excited for what comes next.
Yes.
And asking a lot of questions. And I feel like, Sam Raimi, overall, he delivered. He did what he needed to do.
Yeah, 100%.
Happy to have him back. And what's next? Well, we got Thor.
Thor. Well, when Thor comes out, we're definitely going to review that for you guys and give you guys our perspective on that. But Thor is going to be the next film. And honestly, it was kind of like this film. Like, if you watch this or make or break, I think Thor kind of has that same aspect with it. But just knowing what they did for the last Thor, I'm confident that they understand what to do with his character now going forward and with his storylines. And the trailer, from what we've seen and we all seen, we know it looks really good.
Yeah.
We just don't know what the movie is going to be about.
We can't talk
so
about it, yeah.
We'll figure that out once the time comes.
I guess we'll see very soon. But overall, that was our perspective of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. We just watched it. We're definitely going to watch it again.
Oh, for sure.
And we are also dropping a spoiler discussion video, which will be coming very soon, which we're actually going to, talk about the film and certain points that we liked. Don't watch it if you haven't watched the movie. Don't do that to yourself. Of course. You know what I mean? So, but with that being said, that was the first episode of MayerWood Movie Meltdown, discussing Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. I'd like to thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.
You guys have a good one.